Crossroads of Religion and Life, a series highlighting the cultural and social interaction between the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KTVC. Join us now in Austin Faith Dialogue. Crop is more than what grows in a field. Crop is a movement to help what grows to go to those without food. Crop is a walk which benefits those who are in the movement. Hello, I'm Richard Thompson, pastor of Central Presbyterian Church, and your host for this edition of Austin Faith Dialogue. Today we move toward what, and with the movement of that interfaith community, called the Crop Walk. And we do so with the help of those who have organized the effort locally. Howard Hartman, the Texas director of Crop, Bill Renfro, who heads the Austin Committee, and Elnita Lee, who also serves on that committee, are with us today. And later in the program, we will be joined by 15 talented teenagers from 11 religious communities who will bring us a crop walk, song, and dance. But first, we look forward to having those of you in leadership position to share with us something of what crop is and who it benefits both nationally and abroad, and whom it may benefit here locally. And Howard, I think, is the one who is in charge of the programs throughout the whole state. Maybe we should have you tell us what crop is.
Sure. CROP is an international program that began in 1947 as a way for farmers in the United States to respond to the needs in war-torn Europe. Here in Texas, we had farmers donating cotton and rice down in those areas of our state where rice is growing, and wheat out in the Panhandle were contributed. They used the Christian Rural Overseas Program as their conduit for meeting those needs in war-torn Europe.
And this was right after World War II.
That's right, just after World War II, as a lot of the Marshall Plan was being kicked in by the government. The people in the churches also wanted to be a part of that movement at that time. And so we became a grassroots organization, meeting the needs as farmers in the United States had identified them, and they needed that central agency to meet that need overseas.
Okay, and in the state of Texas, how many crop committees are there?
Well, this last year, in 1989, we had 66 crop walks across the whole state.
I see.
And that goes from Perryton out in the Panhandle down to Corpus Christi and over to Fort Stockton in West Texas, to Beaumont over in East Texas. So,
how does the Texas or the Austin Walk compare with the others in Texas?
The Austin Crop Walk is, in fact, one of the top 16 walks in the whole United States.
Is that right?
Last year, raising over $65,000 for international and local hunger needs.
Okay.
So it's #1 in the state of Texas.
Okay. Well, I think that puts it in a little different perspective, and I suspect, Bill, you've been connected with this walk over a period of some time. When did you start your activity with that?
I started approximately 10 years ago on the committee, the local committee.
And what is there about the movement that has appealed to you? How come you're doing this?
I feel a need to contribute some way to the problems of hunger throughout the world. As Howard said, CROP started in the war-torn Europe, but now we're involved with over 74 countries in the world. It's worldwide. And I am pained or saddened when I see children dying of hunger, when I see children who can't live fulfilled lives because of malnutrition. I am a great believer in the sanctity of life, and I feel that every individual who is born should have the opportunity to live that life, especially here in a world of plenty, not having to starve to death.
So this gives you an individual and a local expression to that conviction.
Right.
And before we forget to name the date, what is the time that this walk is going to be held in 1990?
It's Sunday, March 25th Registration begins at 2:15 at Houston Tillotson College.
And then there's, how long does it go?
As long as it takes for persons to walk 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles.
I see.
These people get pledges from neighbors and friends and relatives, and then they'll pledge so much per kilometer, and then they'll walk the walk and collect afterwards. It usually takes about 1.5 to 2 hours, and those who lag behind or bring up the rear maybe 3 hours.
But you're not required to get over the finish line by a certain time. Is that right, Elnita?
That's right.
And have you actually been in one of these 10K walks?
I sure have. I've been in it for about 3 years now.
And you don't have to be limited by any age circumstance in this regard?
No, because last year we had a lady who was 100 years old who participated in the walk last year.
I see. And is she back again this year, as far as you know?
As far as I know, she is. That's for sure.
Well, I think that your experience with this might give the viewers some thought as to what it is that benefits those who are wanting to benefit others, those who are on the receiving end of the funds that are collected, of the crop produce that's sent, is one of the benefits. But what about those who are walking and taking part locally? How do you see that as helping them?
Well, some of them do it for exercise, and then others do it again in order to make a small contribution to something that is on a very large scale. And they themselves possibly could not do a lot alone, but making a contribution to the entire effort can really help anyone to accomplish something that is really beneficial to mankind.
All right.
And then on the local level, 20% of the money that is collected from the walk remains in this local area. And there are about 4 agencies that will receive funds, 5% each. One of those agencies is the Austin Community Green Spots Program, and there are about 18 sites here in Austin for that. And it's really for low-income persons where they have open space for gardening and for food production. And in addition to that, it also enables them to become just a bit more self-reliant. In addition to that, there is the Loaves and Fishes Project, which has just started December 1st, 1989. It is housed in the Austin Baptist Chapel, but Caritas is also responsible for that. They serve a hot meal daily, and about 250 to 300 meals are served per day.
You're talking about through Caritas?
Well, it's Caritas as well as the Austin First Baptist Chapel.
All right.
And that's located on East First.
So these local agencies benefit from that, as well as persons elsewhere in the nation and abroad.
That's right.
And you mentioned, Howard, it started out in Europe and has now moved out into other countries. Give us, I mean, this is rather abstract, but can you give us some examples of what you've learned of the difference that crop has made to some of these people in other places?
Sure. Here recently, I've just returned from the Rio Grande Valley, where Church World Service has responded to the needs in that part of our own state. The freeze that hit in late December, in January, 35,000 farm workers are unemployed. The food pantries down there have been stretched to their limit on their resources. Church World Service, with funds raised and crop walks, is able to respond to those needs by sending small grants to the food pantries in the local communities in those areas. We've also provided over 2,500 blankets. Something very simple, but something really coming in handy in those cold winter days.
And where will the food come from? I mean, the money comes from people who are out collecting for each mile that they walk, but then this is converted into produce. Where's the source of that?
A lot of our food we purchase in local situations in different countries around the world. These days, to be able to ship something overseas takes a lot of money for the ocean freight. And Church World Service has found other ways to buy food closer to the need, and to meet the need that way. We do more, though, than just provide food. We help to build wells. We're involved in mother-child nutrition programs. Health clinics are supported by what people do in the crop walk. So it's more than food, but goes beyond that, trying to find long-term solutions to the needs of the people.
Getting more at the causes rather than just treating the effects.
That's right.
There's an emphasis on self-reliant programs, trying to build self-reliance within the community of the people that we're aiding, as well as the disaster relief, the immediate relief that's needed, or refugee relief for those who are in war-torn countries.
Well, what are some of the examples that you have found helpful as you interpreted? Bill, I know that you've been out speaking to groups and that CROP offers kind of a speaker's bureau to those that would like to hear more about this in a given place. What are some of the examples that you've used to show the difference that can make as you've understood it?
Well, any time that something happens in the world, either a disaster like an earthquake or a hurricane, Church World Service CROP is there to aid them. Also, when Ethiopia was hit by drought, we were there to aid them. We have built windmills in South America, and we have dug irrigation ditches in Eastern Africa, and have proceeded through that type of project to help the people get on their feet.
All right. Well, I think that you have helped us get a better fix on what CROP is, not only as we've heard this overall description, but a little bit more of the specifics. And one of the most helpful things that I've seen to interpret this has been an original musical that has been produced by one of our local, and written, as a matter of fact, by Brenda Kane, very talented church musician and active in the musical community here in Austin. And we had several teenagers respond to this call to do a crop walk song and dance that we're going to be seeing presented by Denise Chambers and Jill Crowley, Jason Eccles, Maria Gorda, Jill Goolsby, Tiffany Herbert, Thomas Hill, Katie Johnson, Amy Murray, Sean Poe, Brian Schneider, Bruce Schwartz, Jamie Vaccaro, Dianza Villarreal, and Jamie Esperanzo. These are just the names of the young people that we'll be seeing now, who will give us a very lyrical approach to crop as a song and dance. And we would like to, meanwhile, thank the three of you for being here to give us this information, and look forward to seeing you out with the 100-year-old participants and those who are younger.
And babies in strollers.
And babies in strollers. Thank you so much for being with us. And next week on Austin Faith Dialogue, we'll look forward to our next edition. But today we will enjoy the Crop Walk Song and Dance.
Hey gang, let's do the crop walk. We're gonna walk down to the river. We're gonna walk around the bend. We're gonna walk up hills, down valleys. We're gonna walk till the hunger ends. Oh, there's gonna be a crop walk, crop walk. Yes, there's gonna be a crop walk, crop walk. Let me tell you about the crop walk. Crop walk, 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 walk. Yes, indeedy, help the needy. Yes, indeed, gotta feed the hungry. Do-ah, crop walk, tick. For every step we take, for every mile that's pledged, for every foot that stomps the ground, another hungry baby is fed. Yes, we're gonna take a crop walk, crop walk. Watch us do the crop walk. Crop walk, oh, make a place for crop walk. To give a little plenty, gotta put on your tennies. Talking about and torn up hearts can slowly begin to mend. They're gonna have some healthcare, learn a little bit of self-help, redistribute a little bit, of the world's wealth. Yes, there's gonna be a crop walk, 40-odd years of walking free. Come to the crop walk in Austin City. Yes, it's speed or famine, don't you have the stamina to walk in the crop walk? Pledge a little moolah. Follow in our footsteps. Crop walk.
Okay, so we did our bit. We collected our pledges, turned in our funds. Now what do we do?
So we walk. Now let's talk. Where does the crop money go? Yes, we walk. Now let's talk.
Where does the crop money go?
It goes to needy families.
To victims of catastrophe. To many, many refugees.
Hey, man, get real. This is serious. Show 'em, ladies.
Ready? Okay. Crop has been working real hard. Working more than 40 years. Listen to the story about the people they have helped, so you'll get the message loud and...
Why all this fuss about people in distress? You act as if the whole world's in a mess. I know things get bad. Is it as bad as all that? Couldn't we just simply pass the hat? Well, I do know about Ort.
Hey, kids, I think you better listen. Have you ever heard of Mozambique? It ain't exactly where the elite meet.
If you've ever seen the Poor of Ethiopia, then you've got a bad case of myopia.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, excuse me, ladies.
There's problems in Afghanistan, the Caribbean, and in Sudan. Disaster crops up everywhere. Forgive the pun.
You're forgiven.
Life for many is a real nightmare.
At least there's Ort.
Hey, what's Ort?
Well, it's this program that...
To be precise about the dilemma, let us share with you some data that will give you an idea of what exactly is the matter.
There are 13 million refugees worldwide.
There are from 10 to 13 million displaced persons due to civil strife and war. 85% of our refugees are children.
Each year, 40 million people die from hunger and hunger-related diseases.
Another statistic that will knock your socks off is that...
All right already. I think I get the picture. So where does the crop money go?
Yeah.
Where does the crop money go?
Well, we do know what we spend on ourselves is what the poor badly need is not at all the same.
Yes, like with Ort.
Forget about this Ort. Let us report on what they're trying to explain. I go down to Vermont. Let's say I got the call to check out some designer jeans. Next thing I knew, it was 1:45, and I bought 2 ounces of designer perfume.
Now the money for her perfume and the money for her jeans buys fabric for 12 dresses and a sewing machine.
For ladies in Haiti and mamas in Gaza, where the standard of living is mean.
That's where the money could go. That's where the money should go.
In fact, crop has sent just that. Plus, milk to Peru.
Yay!
Blankets to Uganda.
Yay!
Help kids to Brownsville!
Yay!
Medicine to Armenia.
Yay!
Seeds to Zaire.
Yay!
Tools to Pakistan.
Yay!
Tractors to India.
Yay!
Social assistance to Brazilian street kids.
Foot and mouth vaccine for Cambodian Australian. Equipment to Madagascar.
Water buffalo Thailand.
Towers, fittings, casings, and welders.
Oh, right already. You get the picture.
Yeah.
So where does the money go in Austin?
Yeah!
Where does the money go?
We thought you'd never ask.
According to our stats, Austin isn't fat, with rich and ready people sitting pretty.
Things can get rank, But there's the food bank, and Crop has given money almost yearly.
And then there's the gardens, the Austin Community Gardens, which has land, seed, and tours for poor people to grow some food.
Ooh, look here. Crop is also giving the Meals on Wheels.
Oh, and I forgot the El Buen Samaritano Center.
Oh, and Caritas and a bunch of local food pantries.
Well,
That's where the money goes in Austin.
That's where the money goes.
That's where the crop money goes. That's where the crop money goes.
Food production.
Water resource development.
Land reclamation.
That's where the crop money goes.
Healthcare.
Housing.
That's where the crop money goes.
Job training.
Literacy programs.
That's where the crop money goes.
ORT.
ORT stands for Oral Rehydration Therapy. You see, there are people, babies, kids, and adults who are so bad off and so dehydrated, their bodies wouldn't be able to handle nutritional food even if they had it available. Crop has these little packets made up. They've just got a little bit of sugar, salt, baking soda, and potassium chloride in them. Then Crop sends the packets wherever they're needed. Then each one is mixed with a liter of drinking water, and presto, these little kids and babies and other starving people are revived for a while. Then they can eat the real stuff. Each one of these little numbers costs less than half a candy bar. Cut! That's where the crop money goes.
ORT! That's where the crop money goes. That's where the crop money goes. That's where the crop money goes. That's where the crop money goes.
That's where the crop money goes. That's where the crop money goes. That's where the crop money...
Today I taste a delicious rejoicing. Fueled by rejoicing, I am energized.
I am wealthy. I am bejeweled by compassion. It is a gift beyond all other gifts, for I am empowered to expend it, and yet it returns to me full force. With rejoicing and compassion, my joyful song of praise and my act of triumph become one and the same.
I rejoice in my ability to ache for those of humankind who suffer.
I rejoice because I allow no choice but to rejoice. I will not allow my spirit to starve in the despondence of empty idleness.
My joyful song of praise and my act of service are one and the same. I begin in innocence, and as I sing, I question, I doubt.
I weep.
I study.
I meditate. I see what is before me and am humbled. I determine a distinct course. I take the first step.
Today I taste a delicious rejoicing and am enriched with the power of an urgent compassion. It is so others may soon feed upon hope.
An urgent compassion, so others may soon feed upon hope.
And what is required? To do justice, to love mercy, to walk humbly with their God.
We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly. We gotta walk humbly. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk. We got our God. Oh, see. What to do? My family, a life of dignity.
Is it too late for an escape?
For an escape. Is it too late for an escape?
From poverty.
From poverty.
There's no perfect situation to solve the
Problems of the poor.
There is much perpetuation of
Corruption and of war.
God's who work for peace and justice and for
Mercy today. So our efforts are for reaching so that we can hear them say,
Oh, listen to.
oh, hear him sing.
We have some food.
There is some food ready and willing to what?
Got work to do.
Got work to do.
We have
Health
a
and dignity, a life of charity.
You are my friends, you've made a man.
We made amends. He is our friend.
I'm walking to.
I'll walk into. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly. We gotta walk humbly. We gotta walk humbly with our God.
Let us sing this song together as we
Pledge our walk today. May we do justice and the mercy.
may we
Do what Micah say. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly. We gotta walk humbly. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly with our God. We gotta walk humbly with our